Today we are making a video on Manjaro Linux, which is 22.1.0 version. Here is the boot menu of Manjaro Linux. There is two options here, which is boot with open source drivers and boot with proprietary drivers, and some other options like a keyboard, memory test and other options. So in order to boot it in a live mode, it's boot with open source drivers and a boot with proprietary driver. I am going with a boot with the open source drivers. Click on enter. It's going to take 1 minute, or maximum should be 1 minute, or minimum should be like 30 to 40 seconds. If the ISO file is good and if it's working good, it should take like 30 to 40 seconds. If it has bugs or if it's corrupted, it should be waiting like on the time like a few more seconds or maybe minutes. It should be stuck with the minutes, and you should be having an idea that it is stuck and you should change the ISO file or download the other desktop environment. I'm saying this because I tried the xfce desktop environment first, but it didn't work for me, and I choose the KDE Plasma desktop environment right now. I tested it, it worked pretty good. So here is the video. I'm making a video on a KDE Plasma desktop environment with the Manjaro Linux version 22.1.0. And I forgot to mention that I'm running it on a virtualization, which is a VMware with 4 GB of RAM and 80 GB of hard disk and with 2 processors running. So we should be having our desktop layout in any second because it's almost like a 20 to 30 seconds almost. So again, try to ignore my background noise because there's construction going and some people are also crazy around my neighborhood. So even ignore the keyboard and mouse sound because my microphone picks up everything. So as you can see here, there is a Manjaro logo. If it looks like this, so everything is going properly, and it's made of a Plasma made by KDE, which is I already mentioned that I'm choosing the KDE Plasma desktop environment. So as you can see, it's Manjaro version 22.1.0. The code name should be Talos, as you can see here. So let's first change the display resolution because it's pretty odd right now. If you are using a virtualization, it should automatically change the display setting. If you can't change the display setting, just right click on it and you should be seeing configure display settings. And in display settings, you need to change your desired or monitor settings here. If you can't see the text size, with the 1920 into 1080 and 150% should be best settings. You should be seeing a bold font and best text or a big text there. So let's first check about the system and go through all options. The latest version of KDE Plasma is 5.27.4 and the available version is also same, and frameworks version is 5.104 and the latest version is 5.105, but it's 104 here, no problem. Qt version is 5.15.8, kernel version is 5.15.108, and I forgot to mention this is a minimal ISO file. It is not a complete ISO file. The complete ISO file should be version like a 6.2. The latest version should be available, but it's not a. It's a minimal ISO, so it's a 5.515 or a 5.15, and the other also option available is also 5.10. There is 2 kernels available. They uploaded right now like 1 hour or 2 hours ago. So these are the ISO file available right now for the 22.1.0. So I'm making as soon as the content is available. I promised that as soon as the ISO file is released, I'll make a content. So here is the content. So let me close the settings and let me close also the welcome screen. The version should be 0.7.0. So let's close this thing and open the system monitor because we need to know the resources before opening the apps, and we should open the system monitor again at the end because we should be having a comparison of before and after the running all through settings and apps. You should be getting an idea. As you can see, it's almost 1.7 GB already, so it's pretty bad for the low-end PC. It's not suitable for low-end PC. So maybe other desktop environment should be good for you, but KDE Plasma desktop environment is clearly not for you. It's almost 1.7 GB without running any apps. It should be running like a 2.8 GB after opening apps. So if you are having a 2 GB of RAM, it's clearly and properly not for you. It should be very laggy for you. So CPU is pretty good. It's almost under 20%, which is pretty nice. And here are some versions which I already mentioned. It's Manjaro Linux and other options which I said. So let's go to the applications and see what are the applications running. Here are the applications. Here is the history. And ignore this high peak at the beginning because it's pretty common in the beginning. And just see the graph of the stable. It's almost a stable graph, and the RAM is also crazy. The CPU is good, but the RAM is not good. It's almost 1.7 GB, so it's not a good desktop environment or the good Linux distro. This particular ISO file, not everything, just this particular ISO file is or the particular version of the KDE Plasma is not good for the low-end PC. That's my opinion. It's clearly up to you. It's not good for 2 GB of RAM, so a normal or a low-end PC guy can't use that. That's clearly no from me. So let's check the version of About System Monitor, which is 5.27.4. Let's type in the command. Let's open the terminal and check the versions of the distro. Let's check the version of the console, which is 22.1.0.3, which is almost same in every KDE Plasma desktop environments. Let's type in the main command like inxi-sv8 to grab all the distro info. This is the command to get all the distro info. So after clicking on enter, it should grab everything which is available in the distro. So the host is Manjaro Linux and the kernel is the 5.15. It's a Arch architecture is 64-bit. Compiler GCC version is 12.2.1 and desktop environment is KDE Plasma with this version. Qt version is here and Kevin SDDM. Distro is Manjaro Linux. Base is Arch Linux. It's Arch Linux base, you already know. And machine is VMware, which I already mentioned. I'm running it on a VMware, so it's going to say VMware. BIOS Phoenix version is 6.0, which is always same. And the RAM is 4 GB. Used is 1.71 GB, which is almost 50%, almost 45%. And here is my CPU. If you want to know my CPU, here is the CPU. Let's scroll it down and let's find out some of other options or the info. VMW, ignore the sound because I already mentioned it's a construction going beside my house. VMWGFX version is 2.19.0.0. So let's scroll it again and find some other info. Xorg version is 21.1.8. Display is X11. Let's scroll it down. These are the monitors available or the resolutions available. You can change this to up to these things. So OpenGL version is 4.1. Mesa is 23.0.2. So let's scroll it again and let's find. There are also some versions here. Pipewire version is 0.3.70. Jack version is 1.9.22. You should also see all this version because they should be hidden somewhere. So watch the carefully all these things because it's a pretty small text here. Let's scroll it down and ignore my mouse sound and the keyboard sound. My microphone going to pick up everything. I don't want to edit the things because the voice of the complete voice should be like messed up. So I'm just going to ignore that like that. So processors running right now are 230 and uptime is 6 minutes. The Linux distro started almost like a 6 minute. Wake ups are 21. Initiate system D version is 252. Compiler GCC already mentioned. Clang version is here. So shell ZSH 5.9. Bash version is 5.1.16 or 16. Console and INXI version is 3.3.26. Let's type in the command which is same as the above command but in a short form. It should be giving us the same info but in a short form. So let's type in inxi-g after the inxi. So same info you are getting here. It's a small b now, inxi-b, small b, the same info. So let's type in cat /etc/issue. So here are the user password. If you want to remember, you can remember. It's a live ISO. Let's type in neofetch. Let's see if it's available or not, or pre-installed. Neofetch is also available in the Manjaro. So here is the neofetch for some people. So let's type in htop. Let's see, htop is also available. That's pretty awesome. So the RAM is here, the CPUs are up, the tasks are here. So let's also, I think we saw which version, it is 22.12.3 already. So let's close this thing and let me show you how to download the Manjaro Linux 22.1.0, because it's not available in the official website, it's only available in the source forge. So let's type in let's first check the version of the what do you call it, Firefox web browser 112. This is the latest version of Firefox. None of the distros has the 1112 version. They all has a 1111 version. And I already I forgot to mention that I made another content today, because I post 2 videos daily. I already made a video on Ubuntu 23.04. If you want to check that out, you can check that out after this video, after watching completely, because you don't want to watch the half content. If you want, you can do that. It's clearly up to you. I'm not going to force you to stay here. So this is the website you need to remember. This is the official website. The official website has should be having the old version or the stable versions. So let me show you the version of the. You need to choose your architecture. If you want 64-bit, if you want ARM, you can go with these things. These are all the available desktop environments and the community desktops. Let's go to the Plasma desktop, because this is it, Plasma desktop. As soon as you scroll on the image, you should be seeing this under the bottom of the web browser. Just see the bottom of the web browser, and the version should be available there. The stable version is 22.0.5, as you can see, but I downloaded the version which is a 22.1.0. There is not available ISO file in here, so you need to go to the source forge. Just type in source forge, click on enter. You can search it direct here if you are using a Google. If you use other, you need to go to the website and type in here Manjaro Linux, and here is the Manjaro Linux. It takes a few seconds, and here is the files available. You can even go to the OSDN. There is also another mirror. You can go to that. Here is the latest version, Manjaro xfce. The xfce version didn't work for me, so I downloaded the KDE version. Most of people downloaded the xfce, but I don't think it worked for them, because it just stuck on the commands which go. It just stuck at the end, beginning of the beginning or the startup. So it didn't work, it stuck there, and just the timer was going. You already know Manjaro has the timer, so it went up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It didn't launch the desktop, or it didn't open the logo, or didn't show the logo, Manjaro logo. So I just went with the KDE version. So I'm just going to with the KDE version, and here is the 22.1.0, and here are the file size. You just need to change the sort of the file size, and the file size are available here. If you want the Linux kernel 5.15, here is the Linux kernel 5.15. If you want to 5.10, you can go with this thing. You can choose anything. Just go to the KDE Plasma or xfce, gnome, anything, and click on the ISO file. And you should remember that it's a minimal version, so the main ISO file should be available in few hours, I guess, and it's almost 3.2 GB. So I'm using a VPN, so it's slow for me. So let me close. This is the process of downloading in the Sourceforge, and this is the process of downloading in the what you call it, OSDN. Just go to the xfce or anything like this, and you should be having the versions. These are the pretty old versions. So let's close this thing, and let's go to the installation process. I'm going to show you the installation process. I'm not going to install it because I don't want to. The code name is Talos. As you can see, the version is 22.1.0, and here is our installer opened completely. First, it's always language selection, which is same in every Linux distro. There's nothing complicated or other things. So I choose the American English. You can choose anything you want. You need to choose your location. You don't need to provide your actual location. Just click on any location you want. So you can customize some of the settings here. You can go through all the settings if you want. I'm just going to click on next. And here is a keyboard layout. It automatically chooses generic 105 key PC. I'm using a Dell, but no problem, it worked every time for me, so I'm going to choose that. You can choose any language you want here for the keyboard. I'm just going to choose English US and the default one. You have other options too. Do anything, customize up to you. It's clearly up to you. Click on next, and here is the partition or the installation process. So you need to choose your hard disk. If you have single, it automatically chooses. If you want, you can choose anything. For single boot, you can choose erase disk, and these are the available options. ext4, choose anything you want here. So you need to be careful, and you need to be having an idea of what you're doing here. Just don't blindly click on continuously next. So it's going to erase everything, so be careful here. It's going to delete everything in your hard disk. If you are running on a VMware, it's no problem, just do anything you want. If you are running on your hard disk or a real hard drive or SSD, be careful because it's going to even delete the operating system. So be careful while doing that. If you choose the manual partitioning, it's going to give you dual partitioning option, like a dual operating system. So you need to be having an idea, and you need to be having an information of what you're doing here. So I'm just going to choose these options. If you want to encrypt, you can encrypt by providing the password, same password on the both side, and also write it down the password, or remember the password, because you don't want to struggle with the password by scratching your head and struggling to remember the password. It's better option to remember or write it down in the safe place. So if it will be helping helping you after some time if it asks. So I'm not going to encrypt the system. So here is the bootloader option or the location. The automatic one is always the best. If you want to do not install the bootloader right now, you can install it later. So it's in my opinion, it's always going to choose master boot record automatically like this. Click on next. So you need to provide your username, password, and same password for the administrator account like this. You need to provide all the credentials. I'm going to just type in random things because you can type in random things here, and you need to remember these things, not typing just random things. You need to remember all these things too. For username, computer name, all these things, you can give any of your favorite things. You don't need to give your actual name. If you want, you can give it, no problem for that. If everything is going good, you should be having a tick mark right here. If it's wrong, it's going to clearly show you that into mark or a cross mark. The password for this video, I'm going to choose the simple password because I'm not going to install it. So for the sake of video, I'm choosing the simple password. So if the password is same, it's going to show you the tick mark. Log in automatically without asking for the password. I'm choosing this option. If you want, you can choose it. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you. If you want to choose the same password for the administrator account, you can choose it. If you don't want, you can clearly do the other passwords. So I'm choosing the same password. Here are everything is proper, so you have every tick mark here. You can click on next. And here is the complete summary of what you've done in the previous steps. Just go through all the things carefully, and then click on install. So I choose the location as Los Angeles, America, American United States language, keyboard, all these things is here. I choose the erase disk as a partition. If you choose the manual, you will be having some other option here. So these are all the process happens after clicking on install. After clicking on install, it's going to take like a maximum of 5 to 10 minutes. Depends on your PC. If you have a good PC, it should take 5 to 10 minutes. If you have a low end PC, it's going to take a lot of time, depends on your PC, like a 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So after that it's going to say finish, and click on finish, and you should be rebooting your system, and the operating system of Manjaro Linux 22.1.0 should be installed on your hard disk completely. Whether you choose the RS disk, you should be having a single boot. If you choose the manual partitioning, you should be having a dual boot, like a dual operating system. So that's it for the installation process. Let's close the installation process and go through all the desktop features. Let's check the wallpapers. There should be not a lot of wallpapers here, just a few wallpapers, nothing more than that. And about the folder view is the same version as usual, nothing changed here. And the mouse actions, locations, icons, filters, just the same thing, just same basic things, no need to worry. These are the calendar and time, this is also same. These are some notifications. If you want to customize, you can customize anything. Devices and disks, volume, you can change or resize this thing. You already know they are all available in the old version also. Yukaki, there is nothing up to date here, there is everything up to date, so no updates are available here. Don't show this. Desktop, workspace, you already know that too. Some customization for the widgets, all these things. Let me show this too. Some widgets you can add here in the notification, all these things. These are all the old versions, so no need to show that. Let's open few apps and check the version, because some people need to know the version of some of the apps. About Dolphin File Manager, this is the version. The KDE desktop environment version should be all same like this version, that's nothing changed. So I'm not going to open every app because the version will be same, so it's a waste of time to open all these apps. So let's see what are all the available apps or pre-installed apps available in the 22.1.0. So these are all the apps which are already available for the KDE Plasma desktop environment. Just the toolbox terminal is from the Manjaro Linux, and Timeshift. These are all the apps which are available in the KDE Plasma. These are all from the KDE Plasma, and these are all the Manjaro Linux apps. So that's it. Let me open the software manager. It's going to take a few seconds. That's it. So let's check the version of the software manager. Pacman is 10.5.0-2, and the updates is Firefox latest version. We already have the version, and we have a 0.1 update here. So let's check the installed version. So let me quickly scroll the apps. These are all the versions. As you can see, if you want to slow it down, just slow it down in the YouTube settings. Go to YouTube settings, and in settings, playback speed, just change the settings to 0.25 from 0.1 to 0.25. If you change to 0.25, you should be seeing everything. I'm just going to scroll it down fast so it doesn't make it a lengthy video. These are all the versions installed right now. And ignore the background sound because there's a lot of background sounds. I'm trying to make it sound less, as I'm trying hard to make it sound less, but it's nothing because it's a construction work and the people are screaming like crazy. I can't do that because it's going to ruin the quality of the audio. So everything is up to date. If you want to install, you can directly go to categories and try to install it here. So I think that's it. I guess we covered everything on development. We have this many apps, graphics, internet, multimedia, office, settings, system settings. Let me scroll through all these things. Utilities, lost and found, help. This is the help. If you want to go through all these things, you can go to. Let's open the toolbox. Let's try the toolbox option. And here is the toolbox. You can do anything you want. Here are the options. You need to type in the numbers. That's it. That should be available. So let me open the system monitor and end the video because we covered everything. So let's see how much resources are consumed. It's almost 2 GB because I didn't open that many apps, so it's a 2 GB. Before it was 1.7 GB. If you opened every app, it should be like going up to 2.6 GB. So if you want to test it, you can test it on your own. So these are all the resources. It's up to you to judge if you want to use this desktop environment or not. This version of Manjaro Linux is clearly up to you. So let me close these things because we found everything. Let me go to applications. These are all the applications available or opened right now. CPU and RAM here. Processors running right now are here. So let me close this thing and open the internet browser because I want to show you my channel info and some info of the channel. So if you already subscribed, you don't need to check this step. You can skip this step. If you are here for the people who are here for to watch my content without subscribing, this part is only for you. Sorry, I'm stuttering because I'm already tired because I already made a lot of videos today. So you need to type in youtube.com/ or you can call it as just /9to5linux. If you are using a browser in any of your devices, just you need to type in this complete URL. If you are using a YouTube app, just type in this search term, which is 9to5linux, and click on enter. I'm using a web browser, so I'm going to type in youtube.com/9to5linux. I'm using a VPN, so it should take a few seconds more. So this is my channel. If you want to go to my channel and check this out, I'll be posting 2 videos daily without missing any day. I'm posting from 5 to 6 years. I didn't miss any day, maybe just 2 or 3 days in 4 to 5 years. That's it. So here are the timings. You need to visit at these timings. The video should be available before the timings because I'll put it in a premiere. So the content should be available that day. You should be having an idea what content available that day. On the community page, there will be a latest distributions or the latest packages versions or the latest news will be available here. So keep an eye on here. So if you are here only for the Linux content, just go to the playlist and scroll down. As you can see here, Linux playlist, and click on view full playlist for the Linux content. I made like a 1567 videos, almost like a 1.6 videos. So there are all types of Linux distros, different types of Linux distros, variety of Linux distros, some discontinued Linux distros. I covered everything, so you can play all or shuffle there. Go back. If you want to search a specific term, like for example, let's take example as a Manjaro Linux. The latest content should be available right here. The latest videos will be available here. As soon as the ISO file is released, whether it's alpha version, development version, pre-release, stable version, whatever it is, I'll be providing the latest content as this version like a 22.1.0, which is available right now, as they posted or they uploaded the ISO file 1 hour ago or 2 hours ago. As soon as they made the file, I made a content on it. So I'm trying to explain that I will be posting the latest content here. That's the main point here. I'm trying to explain that. So if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you. I'm not going to force you. I respect your opinion. It's clearly up to you. So let's close this thing and end the video. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Again, I forgot to mention, maybe I forgot, or I'm trying to show that again. I made another content because I post 2 videos daily. So I made a Ubuntu 23.04 version, stable version. If you want to check that out after watching this video. So shut it down, and thanks for watching.
Press start.